Yeah. And you have a nutritionist, which was gas, you told me yesterday. That's amazing.
Yeah. I pointed Michelle out to you yesterday. I again, Ian. I was with Ian in November for testing, and I mentioned it to him. He had mentioned on the on the group on Facebook that he had a couple within the group with a nutritionist, and I asked him about it, and he says, "Oh, it's Michelle." I says, "Oh, Michelle, Michelle Cox is her name. She's with Ian as well, 7 or 8, about 8 years, and she ran yesterday as well. Won the 800 and the 3000 W40. So she's amazing. She's brilliant. So she's an amazing runner. And if anyone wants to follow her on Instagram, her thing is Elite Nutrition MC on on um, on Instagram. She's very good. She gives some great tips. So I got talking to Ian, and he recommended I speak to her. So I spoke to Michelle, and she sent me out an, a questionnaire that you'd fill out a questionnaire for 3 days. You have a 3 day kind of eating plan, drinking plan. So fill that out, send it back. She puts it into a computer system, and it tells you where you're at, what you're kind of eating on a daily basis. Um, so she can then come up with a plan to modify what you're eating, and portion sizes. Um, it's probably about getting the right nutrients in at the right time, eating the right things and the dinners. Like we can all eat loads of potatoes, but you have to be adding the vegetable and the other stuff into it as well. Um, so yeah, I spoke to Michelle, got the plan from Michelle, and I've not looked back. I've dropped, wow. I mean, I've dropped from probably about 6 or 7, probably half kilo, 2 or 3 kilos, I think, since I've been with her. Now, probably she'll probably tell you differently. I think I've dropped about 4% body fat, 4 or 5% since I've been,
So what are you doing that's different? Like what stuff are you adding in? What have you cut out that's made a change?
um, well, basically for me in particular, it was the sweet stuff, and it's something I still struggle with now. I'm probably adding in a bit more fiber, adding some protein into the breakfast, which I wasn't doing. I was going to work in the morning and being hungry in an hour, and because
Ah,
I wasn't having
so
protein,
what's the protein going into the breakfast?
uh, probably I would put in a teaspoon of peanut butter. Now you
Ah,
can
yeah.
add other things. You could even put a vanilla protein, a scoop of vanilla protein or something in it,
Mm,
But that was the protein I was lacking. So I was
yeah.
going to work on it, and I was hungry within an hour, and the lunch I was bringing, I was eating, and then that way you're not eating the right things at the right times. So now I can go into work, and I mightn't even need to eat for 4 or 5 hours, and you're not hungry. You start to get hungry 3 or 4 hours, but you kind of stretch it out for 4 or 5 hours and go right, make this my lunchtime. For me in particular, it was tough because my job, I start in the middle of the night and start at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning having breakfast, and then going in, and you're kind of having lunch at 7, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning when everybody else is having breakfast,
Oh God.
and
It'd
then
be
you
so
join
easy
it.
to get into dirty habits, wouldn't it?
Yeah. No, I'm driving. I'm driving 35 years, and it was a decision I made 30 odd years ago or 35 years ago not to turn into that big stereotype typical truck driver.
Yeah, because yeah, you're